Hello! 3 Canadian Bagel here, coming to you with a slightly different video. So this is going to be discussing, as of right now, based off of the polls and the modeling done for the Sunday, the 30th video, the best and worst case scenarios for both the Republicans and the Democrats, which are the same thing because there's only two parties. So the worst case scenario for the Democrats is the best case, for the GOP, and same difference. So right here, this is just as a refresher, this is the scenario from the 30th, or the forecast from the 30th. So this is quote-unquote norm. This is the base state. We go up here and we go to trend here. We see it's just shy of +8 Republican. It's about just shy of 54 to 46. And as you can see on the map, and you can see here, the Republicans are up about 73 seats. If we look at the best and worst case scenarios, though, right here, maps in a moment. Best case scenario for the Democrats, we have 48 for the Democrats to about just shy of 52. It's about a change of about 2 and a bit. You might notice, we go back here, that I have a confidence interval of ±2.9 and 2.7. How is that? Why is this not that? Well, that's not how that works. Or at least, not how I generated the numbers. I am using it based on the confidence interval, but barring like doing a really finicky gradient descent to try to figure out the optimal part of the confidence interval to put them in, we're going with what we get. I'm not really going into too much detail, but this is what I feel comfortable with. Because you got to keep in mind, if you just add that to the Democrat one and subtract that from the Republican one, you don't really quite have. You're missing for first off 0.2, and there's also independents, and it's not 100% clear what the best case, other parties. It's not always clear how to treat other when you're talking about these two's best and worst case. So I generated this way. If you disagree with it, comment below. But you can see here what we're talking about, the change from the main scenario in this. So we're going from 50. Let's round this up to 54 to 46. So +8 and +73 seats to just shy of just above +3. And only 45 seat advantage. And in the Republican best case scenario down here, we have almost a 12-point lead, and we're at a huge 113 seat lead. This here, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to quote a date here, I think this is the 274 would be the most seats won by the Republicans since 1922. I think it's 1922. Definitely past earlier than 1920, but I think it's 1922. Maybe it's 1920. One of those 2 years was the best showing the GOP has ever gotten in raw seat terms. It's very likely in the late 1800s, when the Democrat Party was still in absolute turmoil after the Civil War, they might have had proportionally higher seat total, but they were fewer seats. Since there's been 435, the highest result I think was 285 for the Republicans, so this is just shy of their best showing ever in the 435 seat Congress. But with that, let us actually discuss the two scenarios. So we're going to do this slightly differently. So we're going to throw this off to the side here. And we're going to start off nice and fresh. You have a moment to look here. This is the best case scenario for the Republican Party. And just to touch on things, to make it clear what has happened. So Is this the best case? No, sorry. This is the best case scenario for the Democrats. I've just mislabeled these seats down here. Those are the wrong seat totals. If you want to see the map with the right seat totals, I'll be posting this on Twitter yesterday. So, the 31st. So, it should be on my Twitter at Bagel Polling if you want to see the map with the corrected seat total. I will not be correcting that now because I don't really want to re-record for various reasons. But for now, you get what you get. So this is the best case scenario for the Democrats. So ignore Maine. I think I miscolored that one here. I'll correct that too. In the Northeast, not too much is changing here. Northeast is already pretty solid. Like all the swing. This is still GOP lead. Basically, what happens is some seats that are like Democrat +1 or +2 are back to Democrat column with this kind of change. Not explicitly that, but that's the kind of energy here. This is not the Democrats picking up toss-up Republican seats. This is them taking back seats that are Democrat-leaning. So in the end, you really just see a 3-seat pickup in New York here. Not too much. Going in the Midwest, you start seeing a bit more. Minnesota and Michigan are now both solidly blue popular vote-wise, and the Democrats have picked up a seat in Michigan. They've also gained popular vote ground in Illinois and have picked up 2 seats. Otherwise, the Midwest, again, pretty flat. Moving into the South, really not too much. Again, seat in Florida. 3 seats in Texas and more popular vote net, so some movement here, but not too much. You really start seeing a bit more out west here, but not eye-watering amounts. Less Republican vote share in Colorado and Arizona, but not enough to flip any seats. Less vote share in Nevada, not much enough to flip seats though. One of these Republican seats in Oregon is pretty close, but not enough to flip. And they pick up 3 seats in California. All told, we'll go back to this other one because I have listed this wrong here. 195 to 240. So, as of today, by my model, I am saying if you want a percent chance, if you are a person who either has listened to me before and likes percent chances or is new and likes percent chances, the percent chance that the Democrats lose is approximately 0 because their best case scenario is them losing. Now, I won't say it's exactly 0 because the polls could be wrong in a way that I'm not forecasting. But barring the polls being wrong in a way I'm not correcting for, there is a 0% chance the Democrats win the House. And if you are surprised by that in a midterm, in the midterm of the first term of a president, in the current economy, you're bats. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. You are clearly either you are very naive on how politics works, or you are a diehard partisan. So, good luck. So, there's really no hope here for the Democrats. They're not winning the House. It's not happening. There's a question of how bad it's going to be, but this, again, from the normal case scenario to this is only a 14-seat pickup for the Democrats. That's not a lot. So, the best case scenario, still a loss. Moving into the Republicans, and this starts looking like that seat total is actually correct here. And this is looking kind of, if you recall back to Sunday, if you watched that video, this is somewhat similar to what I said the best case scenario in that was, which was roughly 270 range. And look, we're at 274, which, again, puts the GOP at their best state since, I think, 22, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So what's the difference between here and the base scenario? Well, Maine and New Hampshire are more vote share, but no new seats. They're apparently picking up a seat in Massachusetts. The model says this. I do not trust the model on this one. So, if the Republicans walk away with plus 12 on election day and they win a seat in Massachusetts, damn it, I called it. But I don't think it's happening. Not at all. Rhode Island and Connecticut had less vote share for the Democrats, but not enough to flip any seats. New York also has less vote share, and importantly, the Republicans are picking up a seat there. They also pick up a seat in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and gain vote share in both states. Moving to the Midwest, they gain a seat in Minnesota. Apologies, I'm tired. They also pick up a seat in Michigan and gain vote share, so it's no longer too close or a margin of error. They also gain vote share in Indiana and Missouri, but no seat changes. And they gain vote share in Illinois and 2 seats, so quite a significant seat gain in the Midwest. Big wins here for the Republicans in their best case scenario. To the south, they gain vote share in Virginia, but no seats. They gain a seat and vote share in North Carolina, vote share in South Carolina and Kentucky, vote share and 2 seats in Florida, and 1 seat in Texas. I will note, I still have it labeled like this because this is what the model says, but the model's almost certainly wrong here. One of the Tennessee seats I think it's Tennessee 5, is listed as going Democrat right now. I'm almost 100% certain that it's not going Democrat. I didn't correct it because I don't do that when it's just niche things like this. Maybe I should, but I'm just pointing it out to you. I'm 100% certain the seat's not going Democrat, so maybe we should have called this 275 to 160. The reason my model says it's going Democrat is in 2020, it was uncontested by the Republicans, so there was 0 votes for the Republicans, and it looks like it should be a competitive district, especially right now. I think it probably will be going Republican, but right now I have it going like 90% Democrat because I do have some correction for past vote, but when you're talking about no candidate ran, it's not perfect. There is several districts like this in the country where there was no opposition party, and this being my first detailed U.S. forecast, I wasn't really sure how to handle this. I think I have an idea right now, but I don't really have time during the election to fix the model. For 2024, I have ideas for what to do for seats where there was no opposition party previously running into them. But I cannot do this for now. So mentally, maybe picture this as 1-8 in Tennessee. Moving out west, the Republicans picking up a seat in New Mexico, vote share in Arizona and Colorado, a seat in Oregon, and how many seats? 2 seats in California, and vote share in California. And this brings us to the splendid number of 274/5 to 161/160. Overall, both scenarios are good for the GOP. I would say this guy here, this isn't the best scenario in the world for the GOP in this midterm. If they only end up picking up 17 seats, that wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would really hurt the narrative that this is a big backlash or a big wave, and it would possibly help Biden not get turfed, because realistically speaking, a small loss in the first midterm, not that shocking. A catastrophic loss like this, because this is a big loss. When you're talking about a party gaining 61 seats, especially when they were already at 213, That's a huge win. Because we're not talking like 2014 where the Republicans went from 180 to 250. We're not talking like that. That was a big win. But this is a bigger win, even though it's actually fewer seat pickups, because when you are at 180, there's a lot of seats that are, for lack of a better term, are like R+1, R+2 that have Democrat incumbents in them. And it's a lot easier to displace them because, by nature of what R+2 means, in a 50-50 election, that will be 52 Republican, 48 Democrat-ish. Assuming everyone was a robot and there was no individual personalities of candidates and no scandals and stuff like that. But basically, a generic Republican should beat a generic Democrat in that district. So in a wave, you're going to pick up all those for free, and then you start eroding into the D+1s, D+2s, D+3, stuff like that. Once you start getting to about 270 range, like well past 200, you are talking about picking up seats that are deep into the D or R range. So like 5, +5, +6 range. Not universally, not all of them, not the entire country, but you are picking up these seats that in normal circumstances will default Democrat or default Republican. That's why in the 2014 wave you see them go, the Republicans go up to about 250 and then lose seats going into 2016. They didn't lose seats going into 2016 because the 26 campaign for the Republicans was bad, the Democrats ran a good campaign. They lost seats because it was no longer a wave. They didn't have the momentum, they didn't have the energy to pick up seats that are very tilt away from, or by default are not, or should go Democrat. That's what I'm trying to say here. So, I won't go too long here because this is really just to put out the best and worst case scenarios here. I will update this again on the 6th when I have my final forecast for this election, which, fingers crossed, I don't think there's going to be any polls after the 6th, or after the 5th when I record the video. But we will see. I'm upset when there are polls like that, but there's so many polls in this election that missing one or two I don't think will change the result very much, especially since there's a lot of polls from a lot of sources, so it's better. The issues with my Quebec election forecast in October was I really just had one source of polls until there was 6 polls on the Sunday before the election, and I record on a Saturday. Sad life. But with that, if you like this video, by all means, like, share, subscribe. Comment below what you think of these best and worst case scenarios, if I made a mistake anywhere other than the one I pointed out where I have, we're in the Democrat best case scenario here, I wrote the wrong number here. Other than that mistake, let me know below if you think I made a mistake, if you think my best and worst case scenarios are dumb. I mean, it's based on statistics, so hard take. Maybe the model's wrong? I don't know. Let me know below all those things. If you like this kind of video, subscribe. I will stay up to date with the channel and any future topics or elections I cover. I try to cover as many elections as I have time to cover, / I have the knowledge to discuss in detail, because there are elections I do pay attention to that I don't really know enough to want to post about, or have time, frankly. But with that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you on Thursday for the final U.S. Senate update. Probably. I reserve the right to make an emergency video if it turns out there is a ton of polls after that, but again, I don't think there will be. And also one final note, actually, I just remembered, tired brain. November 8th, on Election Day, I will be doing a live stream. If you are interested in seeing Election Night live stream, I can't say we'll necessarily be as polished as like a mainstream network, but hang around with myself and my co-host Lexi, and we will talk about the election, what's going on, stuff like that. I will note I tend to be a lot more neutral in these main videos, and I am much less neutral in the live streams. Those are more Q&A and more off the cuff. These are all off the cuff. Those are more unreserved. I will blatantly just say political opinions, whereas this, I tend to just say what's happening and what's causing things, not editorializing if I think that's good or try to avoid editorializing my opinion. It's hard sometimes. That there will be no editorialization. There'll be no holding back opinions. So if you don't like that, don't like that. But if you like that kind of thing, by me, check it out. November 8th, I will get better time in the future, but I think it's going to be probably like 8 Eastern time. Again, I'll know better in the future. But with that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you Thursday.